everyone, I'm Pamela and welcome to my kitchen. I'm really excited to be here and show you all the fun things that I do in the kitchen or behind the scenes. Originally, we have another channel. It's called Life is Trail Running because my significant other and I are trail runners. However, that only takes up a small piece of our life. The reality is, most of the time I spend my life in the kitchen or in the garden. And I felt that I needed a channel that represented that and that I could show all of the different things I do in the kitchen. On the Life is Trail Running page, there are recipe videos, there's kombucha videos, there's cookie videos, but it didn't seem to fit correctly for me because it was only a small piece. So this is a new adventure and it's so exciting. I love being in the kitchen. It's one of my greatest joys. It's something I'm passionate about, and I'm a kitchen witch. That's what I do. I love creating healthy foods, tinctures, teas, salves, and sharing them with everyone. And if you are friends with us, you have probably already received a ton of stuff from me because that's what I do. I bake bread, I make jams, jellies, salves, and I'm always handing them to my friends. Anytime I see them, I'm like, oh look, I made this, here you go. That's just me, that's what I do. I like to give people things from the kitchen. So this is a great way for me to share all of that with all of you. Together, we're gonna make some great recipes. I plan on doing a whole entire sourdough series, and it's going to start with sourdough starter, how to grow your own from scratch with just flour and water. Homesteading became a deep interest for me about 3 years ago, and so did Herbalism, and I bought a whole bunch of books about it, trying to learn more. One of my favorite things to do is to grow our own herbs from seed and harvest them, dry them, and make tinctures and teas and salves. And one of my favorite herbs to put in tea is thyme. I love thyme. It's so good. And I actually have that in my cup here. This is thyme. And then I put in homemade lemon, ginger, honey syrup. And it's so good. It's so healing and calming and soothing. It's just one of my favorite herbs to work with. So you will notice as we practice our craft, I'm going to use a lot of thyme. That is definitely a passion of mine. I also got into canning about 2 years ago. My gosh, it's so rewarding. It's so nice to go and harvest all of your tomatoes or all of your veggies and be able to can them, or one of my other favorite things, fermentation. Fermentation helps with gut bacteria because you have these beautifully fermented foods that are loaded with healthy gut bacteria. And they last really long. I love it. It's, how do I describe it? It's so nice to sit down and have a meal and look at everything and say, I grew all this and fermented it and baked it, and we're eating it, and I know everything that's in my food. And that is one of my biggest points with all of this for us, is that nowadays you don't know what's in your food. It's just a reality. You don't know what's in your food. And I was so disappointed to find out that even you go to your regular grocery store and you think you're doing great. You're buying organic produce and you feel really good about it. And the sad part is a lot of that organic produce still has chemicals on it. And that's really disheartening. It's frustrating. And for someone like me, I have a lot of allergies when it comes to foods and to chemical compounds. that I can't be playing around with that stuff. I just can't. And it's not good for you. The way I discovered it was I wanted to get some cucumbers because I wanted to make some fermented pickles. And this was about 3 years ago. So I wasn't able to get to the co-op, which has local organic grown cucumbers. I just went to the grocery store and I picked up organic cucumbers. Brought them home, made a jar of fermented pickles. In 21 days, cracked the jar open. I was super ready for those pickles. By the way, fermented pickles are heavenly. Anyway, I opened the jar and all I could smell was chemicals. And I bit into a pickle and all I could taste was chemicals. And I was so confused. I didn't understand, like, but these are organic. How can there be chemicals on them? And I looked it up online, and sadly, organic vegetables, depending on where they're from, still have chemicals on them. Whether it's pesticides or herbicides. That was devastating to me, because then why am I being lied to in the grocery store? Being told these are organic and they don't have any herbicides or pesticides on it. Guess what? They do. That led me down the path of gardening. I wanted to grow all our own stuff, if I could, from scratch, whether I got the plants from a local organic gardening shop, which, by the way, I will show you in the spring where I do go to get some of our plants. This place is amazing. There is so much to choose from. The couple that owns it are so passionate about plants and growing organically. It's fantastic. And I also got into growing from seed, which was a new adventure for me this past year. And it was so exciting and rewarding to see these little seeds go in the ground and poof, all of a sudden we have big, beautiful carrots and cucumbers and tomatoes. It was so much fun. So I will be showing you all of that this year when gardening season happens. I will show you all the stuff that I love to plant and how I take care of it in management. And then I'll also show you what I do with everything afterwards when it's harvesting season. So, for example, I planted potatoes this past year, which, my gosh, huge success, and I can't wait to plant even more this year. But I had this big bushel of potatoes that all came due at one time. And I thought, well, this is great, but now how are they not gonna go bad by the time we eat them? And I came up with this great idea. It works so well, where some of them I cut into French fry, steak fry shape. Some I cut into home fry shape, little square cubes. Some I just diced up for soup. And I quickly blanched them in boiling water for 2 minutes, took them out, strained them, put them on a tray and froze them for about an hour, and then put them in a Ziploc bag and stuck them in the freezer. It makes making dinner so quick and so easy because I can just take out whatever I want, put them on a tray and bake them, or put them in a pan or a pot of stew and cook them. And it's so easy. I love it. I'm like, wow, why did I never think of this before? So these are all the fun things I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna take a quick pause here. I wanna strain my tea. Honey, delicious. This is my tea. I don't know if you can see it well enough from there. It has like a yellowy green tint to it. It's so good. Yeah, that's amazing. One of the things you're gonna notice when I do my teas, they're not really teas, they're infusions. Sometimes I'll use decaf tea for sun tea, but mostly I don't actually use any tea leaves. That's because I can't have caffeine. I have a heart condition where I can't have any caffeine. I stick with infusions, and I'm not upset about that. I don't miss tea, I don't miss caffeine, and even teas that are decaffeinated, I still have to be careful because they still do contain a small amount of caffeine. So when we make sun tea together, you're gonna see that I only use a little bit of decaf tea in it, and then I mostly use herbs and fruits. Really hits the spot. I am really excited to share a full series with you on sourdough making. I have some of the videos already filmed and already edited, and I'm gonna teach you sourdough from scratch from the beginning. We're gonna grow our own starter together with just flour and water. And then I'm gonna walk you through a loaf of artisan bread. That'll be the first 2 episodes in the series. After that, then I'm gonna show you all the creative pieces, all the different things you can do with your sourdough starter and sourdough discard. There's so many possibilities with sourdough discard. I almost get a little bit more excited about the discard part and what I can create with that. For example, last night for dinner, I had a whole bunch of sourdough discard that I needed to use. I made bread earlier in the day and I was like, okay, I've got discard. What do I want to do with it? I thought about it a little bit and I went, well, why don't I make chili for dinner, which was delicious. And why don't I make homemade corn tortillas with sourdough discard? Wow, those came out beautifully. They were wonderful, they were soft. They had that little bit of sour taste from the discard. They were amazing. So that's something I would show you that you could do with your discard. I'm trying to think what else we're gonna cover on the channel. It's gonna be anything you can think of that's homesteading. We're gonna build our pantries, which I'll put in here a shot of our current pantry right now just so you can see it and all the stuff we canned. Future, I plan on getting a freeze dryer as well, which will make it even more exciting and we can preserve so much more. Really, really thrilled about that too. What else are we gonna talk about on the channel? Well, the other thing too is I'm always open to comments and questions. So if I show you a recipe and you have any questions, it doesn't work for you, or you just want to know more, absolutely comment on the video, or you can send me an email at witchhollowhomesteading@gmail.com. Ask me questions. I'm here to help. I want to make this an inclusive community where everybody feels comfortable to ask and learn. That's one of my big goals for this. I just want it to be so open for everyone to enjoy. Thank you so much for watching my intro video. I hope you have some idea where this channel is going to go, and who knows, it might go in even more exciting and fascinating places. I'm excited to put out my first recipe video, which will probably be a week from this video, and let's get started cooking in the kitchen and doing some homesteading. Take care.